We're hereby called to order and recording of quorum. We do have a quorum. On first, citizens to be heard. Rules for citizens' participation. Citizens' participation and comments are welcome, but they are subject to the following rules. Complete a registration form. Direct your comments. All citizens to be heard are to direct their comments to the Planning and Zoning Board, not to an employee or to the audience. All speakers are limited to 3 minutes, but may be given the time of another speaker for a total of 6 minutes if approved by the board. Please end your speaking at the time allotted. No placards, banners, or any type of signs are permitted in the council chambers. Your signature indicates that you will adhere to the public comments rules. Citizens may speak on any topic they wish to bring to the attention of the governing body. The commission will not deliberate on any item not on the agenda. First, make a statement of fact regarding the item. Then state any city policy related to that item. Propose to place the item on a future agenda. Any citizens who wish to speak on a specific agenda item when the item is called for discussion must indicate which agenda item they wish to address. So is there anyone who signed up to speak about any business items?
No, sir, there's not.
Okay, now business items. The approval of minutes dated 11/10/2025. Has everybody reviewed these minutes? So I hereby call a motion to accept the minutes from, in this case, 11/10/25. Is there a motion to accept?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, we have to, a motion to accept the minutes first. Make a motion. Somebody needs to make a motion.
Please state the motion.
Go ahead. I make a motion that we accept the minutes as
Second the motion?
stated.
I second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Consideration to take possible action. I'm sorry?
The oath need to be taken.
Okay. Okay. The oaths to be taken. Mireya Valero.
You stand over here, Miss. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Balcones Heights oath of office. Mireya Valero. Raise your right hand. I, Mireya Valero, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Planning and Zoning Commission for the city of Balcones Heights in the state of Texas. And I will do to the best of my ability
to the best of
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend
and laws of the United States
and
and this state and of the city of Balcones Heights,
city of
so help me God.
so
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, as mayor of this municipality, I have now sworn you in the oath of office. Congratulations. Your oath of office for your plaque that you can put in. Thank you very much for your service,
Thank you.
very much.
We now call Mr. Eloy Figueroa.
Roy, congratulations.
Gracias.
Balcones Heights oath of office.
Yes, sir.
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, and by the authority
And by the authority
of the state of Texas, I, Eloy
I, Eloy
Figueroa,
Figueroa,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute
execute
the duties
the duties
of
of
the
the
office
Office
of Planning and Zoning Commission
Planning and Zoning Commission
for the city of Balcones Heights
for the city of Balcones Heights
in the state of Texas,
in the state of Texas,
and will,
will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
defend the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state
and of this state
and of the city of
and of the city of
Balcones Heights.
Balcones Heights.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Well, subscribe to me on the 16th day of December 2025. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for serving and providing a service to our community. Thank you, Eloy.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Chairman, we're going to proceed with Mr. Ortega, if you're ready. Wait till the chairman gives us direction. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, shall we proceed? Okay. Balcones Heights oath of office. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I, Santiago Ortega, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Planning and Zoning Commission for the city of Balcones Heights in the state of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state and of the city of Balcones Heights. So help me God. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, as the mayor of this municipality, we have now sworn you in as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you, Santiago, for your service to our community. Yes, sir. Here's your certificate, and you can frame it and get it there. Great. So, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, the swearing in and oath of office has been completed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next item is a discussion on amending the city code ordinance, chapter 153 zoning codes, article 3 zoning districts and use regulations, amending setbacks, front setbacks, rear setbacks in the R1, R2, R3, R4, R6, O1, O2, C1, C2, M1, and M2 zoning districts. We now do hear by Nick.
Planning and zoning. Packets. 16. And the last one. Go down. Okay, great. Good afternoon, board members. Good to see you all again. Just as a refresher, we're here to discuss the setback amendments. This is placed as just discussion item only this month. Want to make sure that we're all on the same page before we kind of proceed and start drafting up this ordinance. But yeah, next slide, please. Just one more time, as background, we've received multiple inquiries from businesses and residents about how strict our setbacks are. Numerous Board of Adjustments variance applications on trying to place buildings, accessory buildings, uh, storage containers closer to the lot lines, whether it's rear or side or front lot lines. They're pretty strict currently, right? So we're looking to kind of amend that and make it a little more lenient for not only businesses, but residents as well. Next slide, please. Again, just as a refresher, here's our current setbacks. Last month, how we had it set was amendments just to the side setback to reflect a 5-foot side setback all around. This month, we're going to look at amending the front and rear setbacks as part of our discussion. Next slide, please. Here is our MXD setbacks. It's located in a separate part of our ordinance. Intersection areas, we're at a, 25-foot setback from the front lot line. There is no side property setback, and the minimum property setback from the rear is going to be 25 feet as well. If you're not located within an intersection area, it's 62 feet from the front lot line. A side will not have a setback lot line or a rear side setback, excuse me. And the minimum rear is going to be 25 feet as well. Next slide, please. Here's what I currently have proposed as us moving forward and as a starting point for our discussion today. For our side setbacks, it's going to remain the same as last month. We're going to look at adding those to 5 feet all around from R1 through R6, O1 through O2, C1 through C2, M1 through M2. This does not include R5, which is a townhouse district, which is already set at a 0-foot side setback. Looking at front setbacks, for the most part, we're looking at 25 feet or 10 feet, depending on if it is a residential or commercial area. Rear setbacks, they're going to be set at 25 for residential districts. I think that is pretty fair, given, neighborhood values and making sure that we're being neighborly towards one another. I think that, causes a lot of complaints within our code department, how close you're going to be towards those lot lines on the rear. Not touching those, but for commercial O1, O2, C1, C2, M1, M2, we're looking at a 5-foot to a 10-foot rear setback, and 20 for any industrial, which is that M1, M2. Next slide, please. Rear setback is going to be from the back property line. M1, M2 is our light industrial and manufacturing. A good example would be the Ski and Sail off of North Balcones Road, that large lot. That's a M1 designated area. C1, C2, those are local retail. That'll be your gas station type areas. O1 is our Hillcrest office district. That's mainly the discussion that we were talking about last month with our storage containers. Most of Hillcrest offices are designated as O1, and what we kind of talked about as being that 5-foot setback. Yours is C1, yes. You're not included in the Hillcrest district. It is not, no. Yes, sir. But again, I just want to bring this up as discussion. I'm more than willing to change any of this, but this is just our starting point because there's not going to be any action tonight.
Where I also understand it is if we're gonna try and fix Hillcrest's codes for the properties and turns them more into a multi-purpose buildings and uses, then what we basically did is set up the rules and then we changed the game so that they're not gonna be able to use, they're not gonna be able to put like a container in the back of their place. Because I think that's in the works too, the way I understand it, is that we're gonna change Hillcrest properties over to multi-purpose so that it can be resident, apartment dwelling or something like that, and also, a commercial building. So if we do that and then we do this, then we're doing apples and oranges. And so then they're not going to be, we just basically create the codes, we go through all this hassle, and then we also now, we change them and make them not applicable to those.
If we're looking to rezone to mixed use, then we should be looking at the mixed use ordinance, and this isn't going to cover that. So this would only cover that O1, O2, right? C1, C2, your property being designated as C1. It'll be the next slide that we're looking at, MXT zoned areas. And if we want to change any of those side setbacks in that, that's where we would look at it. I just want to make a note, we haven't received any applications to rezone in that area. That is ultimately the goal in City Plan 2040, right? To rezone that to MXT, make it more pedestrian friendly, make it multimodal. Currently, it's not that, but it's not something that's going to happen for quite some time.
Is there any way we can fix this now so that when we get there, we don't have to go through this and reinvent?
Absolutely. I would look at the MXT properties then.
I mean, even like this commercial sale, retail, I mean, mine, like I said, his building right now, the street is going to be 5 feet, and then mine's going to be 10 feet just because mine's zoned differently. That's why I say the zoning is kind of complicated. I think we should let the commercial buildings as well go back to 5 feet as well, because I was thinking about buying a container and putting it in the backyard. I know it's conflict of interest, is it?
I can make the note all around to change these to 5 feet when we bring it
Oh,
back
yes.
next month.
The purpose of this is so that we can come to an agreement and kind of pretty finalize, like he said initially, those is what he came up with, but we can change it and then send it up for approval.
I mean, I'm just not thinking about myself. I'm just thinking about whoever it is would be, I'm just thinking about their business as well. I don't want to like the oil lube shop. Let's say they wanted to put a container in the back to hold some of their supplies. Well, then we just said they can't do that except the 10 feet. And then there's nothing down there by their property. So, I mean, I don't see why we would penalize them for.
If we're all good with that, I can make the notes here and propose
Yes,
5 foot.
if we do 5 across the board,
Every
then
property, including M1 and
everything
M2?
will be uniform, and they will be able to maximize, especially commercial and in the M1, M2, Cs and Os, they'll be able to maximize their property so they can afford to do or be capable of doing what they need to do as far as turn around their vehicles and things of that nature, park more vehicles in their lots accordingly so that everything looks uniform throughout Hillcrest or this areas. That's what I would suggest. Anybody?
Commissioners, if I could, there is one thing that I do want to point out to y'all regarding y'all setbacks. So if you'll notice, I'm looking at it, it's the side setback column. You see down there, the last 3 rows, C2, M1, M2, right? So you see the 5 and then the 1, right? So that 1 is a special designation that says if you are a C2 district that abuts a residential area, then you're going to have a different provision that gets applied to you, right? Because you want a little bit more buffer between the higher uses, commercial uses, industrial uses, when it bumps up to your residential district. So I just want you to keep that in mind so that y'all don't get caught off guard on the back, and especially as to the side setback. And you all can consider that same sort of buffer if there are any of these districts that butts up to a residential area where you might want to have a little bit more buffer rather than have a commercial or an industrial district bump right up to residential property.
Well, pretty much all Hillcrest Drive bumps up to residential. All of us on Hillcrest Drive, we are, whoever's next to us or behind us is residential. So I alleviated that because if I put a Connex box there, a storage box, I have an 8-foot fence, so they won't be able to see it. So it won't interfere with it. It won't be unsightly either due to the fact that they can't see it because it's higher than the actual Conex box. They would have to actually peer over to look at it. So in doing this, there's also, I believe, so it can all be uniform, that there has to be code to where it's not unsightly to the neighbor, taking them into consideration so that it just doesn't, they have a nice backyard. It's just, for example, they have a real nice backyard. They go out there, have a barbecue, now they got this box sticking out from our neighbors. Well, we're gonna have to have something that we need to come up with so that it is out of sight for our neighbors, take them into consideration. That's what we need to do. We can't just do for us. We have to take into consideration our neighbors. That's what I recommend.
I second that. I agree with him. I think if there are ways for us to put in place that, you know, if something becomes unsightly, how do we deal with it? And I think being proactive on that is a good idea. But I agree, you know, we should be able to maximize the full potential of a property.
That's going to open up the storage container ordinance again, which would be separate from planning and zoning.
Correct.
For right now, I can look at those, you know, three little asterisks ones and make sure that we're, you know, considering in our next meeting how we are having our setbacks, that anything that's abutting any residential area. But just to keep in mind, yeah, nothing with storage containers can be touched within this right now. But we can open that up at a separate time.
Excellent.
I think that's why it's important for us to work these details out right now, as we're working through this, is because we're tabling it, we're all putting effort and thought into this, and I think it'd be good if we can come up with some resolutions that'll not just last today, but we don't have to keep messing around with it in the future. So, good job.
Right. So I've made the note 01 through M2. Those rows right there are going to change to a 5-foot rear setback. R1 through R4 is going to stay 25 feet. If there's no more discussion, we can move on to the next slide. Great. Here's going to be our proposed MXT or mixed use setbacks. Those yellow highlights are going to be the changes that I'm proposing. Again, this is just a starting point where we can start picking up and trying to figure out where we want to have these set. Within intersection areas, currently it's a 25-foot front setback. I'm proposing a 5-foot front setback. There is currently no setback on the sides, as I mentioned earlier, and then we're looking at a 20-foot rear setback. Non-intersection areas, that's going to change from 62 feet to 20 feet, minimum of 5 feet from the front property line. There shall be a maximum setback from the side property of 15 feet, and then from the rear, it's going to be 25 feet.
From the side. I'm just looking at my property, it's the only thing I really know that well, but I mean, my property from the fence line to my actual building is just about 15 feet. But if I wanted to put a carport out there, even if it was a suspended and there was no poles down there, I mean, it's going to go over like almost close to the edge.
Carport would be considered an accessory building, and that would be a variance because it would encroach on that setback. So again, we can change these recommendations that I made. Just let me know which ones we want to
Yeah.
change, or if you have any questions about what I'm proposing here.
At that point, we would just utilize BOA, I believe, just to make it simpler. Okay.
Any changes or notes, any questions about this
Um,
proposed on mixed use?
Did we cover before about the 5-foot setback on the back of the property? Did we fix this or is this still?
On here, it's not fixed. Currently on those intersection areas, it's going to be 20 feet. Non-intersection areas, it's going to be 25. So if we want to move that to 5 feet, we can move it to 5 feet.
Yeah, I think so, because their
Absolutely.
property is no different than,
What we want to keep is uniformity.
right, I think that needs to change to 5, because otherwise and it's not favoritism,
Yeah.
it's just Just weird. don't know.
I just want to note that
Consistent.
prior to any of these changes, I ran this through our fire department, our fire chief, to make sure that these adhere to any safety guidelines that they may have. They have no concerns with what I've currently proposed. Any of these changes, I'll take back to him. There may be concerns that I'll bring up at a later meeting, but that's just something to take into consideration.
Okay, yeah, and if that does happen and there's need to be a discussion, we would like to have that discussion, the board, would like to have a discussion with them. So that way everybody's comfortable with the decisions that are being made and it's fair to our neighbors. But ultimately, what we want is uniformity. Best that we can do.
Yep, absolutely. Any additional questions? Any more conversation?
I think is it, because the property next to me also is also just like mine. It's local.
I think it's a C1, yeah.
Yeah, it's a C1 also, and they would have the same limitation. And so even though they're not here, I feel like that's why I'm speaking out for them as well, because I think they need the same privilege, because they're put out tons of money for that building, and I think we should give them some freedom to use it.
Great. Cool. Well, we can move on to the next slide. I've already covered the fire hazards. I was going to go through the entire presentation before we started discussion, but go one more, please. We've already covered the smaller setbacks. I think we're all kind of on the same page of what the benefits are here. You know, maximizing our land use density, enhancing designs. I'll show a couple case examples. That way we just kind of visualize a little more here. We do want to improve community livability here. Next slide, please. Again, just so there's a little visualization, the picture on your left there is going to be a 5-foot front setback. Picture on the right is going to be a 12-foot front setback. That's kind of what we're looking to do with our city plan, right? Create those tighter front setbacks, a little more community living, a much more appealing front-facing front fenestration of the properties, right? If you can move on to the next slide. This is loosely what a complete street would be, but we really want to see that pedestrian walkway as close to the buildings as possible, right? How walkable can we make these communities without having to travel such great distances and force ourselves into these vehicles to travel from one place to the next? Next slide, please. Here's an example of what we have currently. This is where Planet Fitness is. There's two different front setbacks. That first, or that closest one from the sidewalk, is about 200 feet from sidewalk to the front of that building, and Planet Fitness still goes another 150 further back, just to make sure, you know, we really want to limit this going forward. Next slide, please. As we start talking about setbacks, this is going to create issues in other areas that we need to start considering. Currently, there's open space definitions within our ordinance, but we need to clarify that a little further where there's a requirement, right? Whether it's a plaza area, just so it's not, you know, building after building after building, right? We do want to make it more walkable. We want to make it, you know, green. We want to make it a communal place to be, right? Parking requirements also need to be looked at here. As we start making these tighter, 5-foot front setbacks, we need to look at what location we want to start parking, whether that's the rear, side. My recommendation as we go into the future, right, that's a rear parking, creates a much more appealing place to look at, right? You don't want to just walk 200 feet like we saw earlier through cars to get to your destination. And those minimums and maximums of how much parking we need to have within the city also need to be opened up. Those are conversations that we'll have later on after we've gone through all of our setback changes, but these items are going to need to be reviewed so that we're not creating gaps within our ordinance that are going to allow abuse, right? As contractors start coming in and seeing this leniency. Any questions?
Not at the moment. No question. No.
Great. That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I guess that is all that we have on the agenda. Anybody have anything? Okay, well then, meeting is adjourned. Make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Second,
Second.
meeting adjourned.